Good afternoon. Good
Hello, hello.
afternoon.
How's it going?
All right, all right. Hello, everybody out there. Y'all tune on in, come on in, and so we can have this discussion. Have this discussion today so that we can talk about the things that are plaguing us in this country.
hmm
Uh, my co host, Dr. Robert Bryant,
How's it going?
and today we have Teresa Godfrey from Women on the Rise. We,
Hello.
we
Hello.
welcome you, my sister. Robert, you can take over from here, and we'll just follow
Okay.
your lead on throughout the show.
Sounds good, but scary. Well, thank you to Teresa for joining us today. The topic for our discussion is George Floyd versus Breonna Taylor, the margins where we put Black women. And what we're referring to is how African American women have been on the forefront of change, have been instrumental in things like the women's suffrage movement and the civil rights movement, but they don't always get the same accolades as others. And so we'll explore that topic and we'll step away and come back to the topic. But I know today that Teresa, we really look to your guidance and your voice to help us unpack this ever so important topic. You know, one of the things I thought about as we were designing today's topic was the idea that there is yet to be a African American woman on the Supreme Court or in the governorship. And so we'll start there. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that we're in a time where things have an opportunity to change for the Black woman. Like I'm here in Georgia with Stacey Abrams, and she already put in a bid for governorship, but didn't make it. And but he rallied in on getting the vote out and changing Georgia into a state now that we have Senator Warren and Senator Ossoff.
Mhm.
So it started a movement in the country that every state now is trying to change how we vote. And Georgia was the first state, Governor Kemp, to be able to push that, um, push it through. So now I'm looking at a new Jim Crow era that's coming up. So, but with having Vice President Harris in, it's going to open the doors for a lot more Black women to come into an opportunity of leadership, visible leadership to all communities, visible leadership to all communities. And that's what we need, because Black women have always been in the backbone of the civil rights movement, and things like that. So when you start thinking about people like Ashley Chisholm, she was the first Black woman to ever even run for president. This was back in the 60s. So the opportunity is there for change. We just got to continue to step up to the plate, being visible, and not be afraid of what they're going to do to stop us.
And that's kind of, it's interesting. Black women, I don't know the stats. I need to find the stat out because I talk about it a whole lot. But black women uh, are not just on the rise, they have really risen
Mhm.
because
Mm-hmm.
if you look at it, when you look at politics in this country, black women are leading in every level of government.
Yep.
All the
Correct.
spokespeople that you see are black women. So the black man needs to rise up also because he is absent without leave right now. And we don't have black men serving the way that they should be serving or standing. Black women are not afraid to stand up. For some reason, black men like to lay in the back. Black women stand up for our rights every day across this country,
Mhm.
and we have to take our hats off to them.
Which is
Yes.
quite interesting you say that, Julius, because when it comes to political appointments, federal appointments to the bench, we don't see a lot of African American women historically being selected for those positions. And so, while you're right, they've been on the forefront of these struggles and challenges for a while. Something's not aligning.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead, sister.
well, the climate hasn't been open for them. The last 4 years, we had Trump in there, so
Right.
definitely didn't want anything of color where visible. It had to help him to move forward. So the Biden administration has really changed the opportunity level for us dramatically. And this is where we definitely need to be able to step into our um, positions and
Mhm.
let them know that we are available. Like in Atlanta, we have Mayor Bottoms. She has been on CNN like a fixture, to the point where um, she was offered some opportunity to serve with Biden, and
Right.
one part of it she turned down. You know, but she is still making herself available. Um, the thing with Kamala Harris is that now it's going to be up to her, along with President Biden, to make sure everybody comes up to the plate. If they recognize that this is a season opportunity, we can have some more amendments made. They're right now considering expanding the Supreme Court. They have position where if they expand the study, if it expands the Supreme Court, then there will be room for and hopefully to be placed in in those positions. When we looked at the hearings that were at the Capitol, there was a woman that I can't remember her name, but she's from the Virgin Islands who was the spokesperson for the hearings that they were having. So there's opportunities for a lot of things to change. The main thing is that right now is that we stand up for the wrongs that have been done. And so with the wrongs that are being done, when I think of Marilyn Wynn, who is our executive director,
Mhm.
and Bree, who is also training and a lot of leadership for women on the rise, we want to make sure that we get in there and the things that need to be done, like closing a jail in Atlanta City Detention Center. That's something we're doing on a local level. And it's just up to city council how they're going to allow this to go through. Are they going to be in it or support from other environments, or going to allow us to go ahead on and close and develop a center for equity?
And again, when you look at it, who after Kamala Harris, who is the most prominent black person in the country as far, especially in the Southeast, that you see
That's
on
Stacey
all of
Abrams.
Stacey Abrams.
Yeah,
Exactly. She's everywhere in everything. And like I said, black women are rising. And it is
yeah,
our duty as black men, if we're not step forward and rise with them, then we should back them 100%. And that's our duty. Because the black woman has the voice now. They're more forceful. They're not scared. So for some reason, we get black men who do not want to um, tell the truth. They don't want to say what they really feel. They want to appease everybody. But you know, if a person, we had this discussion yesterday. I was at the Chamber of Commerce here in Fort Worth, and and we were talking. If you don't see race, everything is not about race,
right,
but it just happens to include race. And if you can't see it and want to address it, that means it's going to forever exist and going to be an albatross that's holding you back. It's going to be something that's just that weight that's on you if you don't address it. But women, I applaud black women for stepping up when they saw that there was a void, and that's what's happening. The black woman is the most educated person on the planet, and and I'm gonna challenge the men to rise up just like the black women, because we have not done what we're supposed to do to be right there on y'all side, not behind you, not in front of you, right there on the side of you,
right.
marching forward to make our communities better. You know,
Yes,
but
yes.
that's just my opinion.
No, no, I totally agree. But if we could segue really quick, I think Women on the Rise is doing some really important work. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about what you all do, and it just adds to the conversation of African American women finding a cause, believing in that cause, and seeking change.
Well, on the rise. Like I said, Marilyn was our director, and she was formerly incarcerated, so she knows what the struggle was with drugs, the struggle being able to take control of our situations. I remember it started with ban the box, and in the state of Georgia, Nathan Deal, who was the governor at the time, signed the box legislation into um, effect. And there she just went on with changing local laws like marijuana law. They were giving, if you stop with marijuana less than an ounce, they were giving you a fine of $1,000 and incarcerating you, in most parts. When that has been changed because of law, and it's now you stop. This is in the city of Atlanta. You can stop with marijuana, less than an ounce. You get a citation and a $75 fine. So that way, your criminal background is not affected. That has a lot to do with what we want to do. We want to change the laws of how people have been affected, Atlanta, and even across. Um, we right now, our current campaign is closing the Atlanta City Detention Center. I mean, when I first moved to Atlanta, I wanted to know what was that big monstrosity building that sat right of 20. And they said, well, that's the city jail. I said, well, that's a monument to what is, because it just showed how they wanted to keep people down. They built it at the Olympics because to hide the homeless population, and the homeless population just happens to be in Atlanta. The majority is black, and the majority is black. I don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic now, and how that's going to affect homelessness, but of course it's going to rise. So We make sure that we're heard. We have a donation of 50 nonprofits that are helping to fight the closing of that jail. They have another jail. The people, they have very minimal custody, 100 people that are in custody, and they're in custody for low crimes like traffic violations and that type of nature, marijuana, and we need to have that jail closed, and we want to develop a center for equity and wellness where we will have people that's coming in from that's being released. They would be able to maybe get their ID, job training, child care, the type of things that we would focus on with this building being changed over to what the Center of Equity will represent.
So basically, you all are advocating for transitioning that structure to being a community resource. Is that
To be repurposed, I mean, to something to benefit the people here. Because there's nothing worse than coming out of prison and getting other kind of services because you don't have no ID. They would come directly to us, and then we'd be able to help them to get their identification. Then pay if they need housing, so that they're not right into a homeless situation. We have an area that people could be housed. Have an area where people could go to work and leave their children there. We have an area where if you need job training skills, basic job training skills, that would be to train there. So this is being able to turn people's opportunities, their failures into opportunities. As a formerly incarcerated person myself, I know what it means to come out and have a place to go. I know what it means to come out and maybe need substance abuse help, and then not know where to go. So I know about that. Then once I did that portion of my life, I was able to become an employment counselor myself. So I know what it means to be able to help somebody see their resume and then have it turn around and say, I was a drug dealer before, but now you've taken my resume and you showed me that I know how to do accounting money, I'm good with sales, and so I can take that information and go out and find me employment. Well, if somebody worked in prison as a cook, how many people? Fed 3 times a day. I fed 300 people, prepare meals of 300 people. We can figure out in a restaurant. So it's all kind of things that can be done. That's what we want to do here in Atlanta. We want to give people opportunity to be able to change their lives and know that they can come to us and be able to receive that type of support.
a comment, and Julius, I don't know if you saw this comment. It was a moment ago, but it was to the tune of Black men have to be careful because of we try to do the same types of things. Right, here it is right here. What do you think about that? I
Well,
mean, I think it's 50% true. I don't.
yeah, the thing is that was, and he brings up later on. He says Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers, but those were in the 1960s. They're not silencing black men. What those things did was scare black men. And that's why the black woman is out front now because black men are scared to get up and lead. We're too busy. See, it was a diabolical plan that was put in place over the last 50 years. And this plan, 50, 60 years, that this plan of fear to the black man has gotten us to not want to stand up and do the things that's necessary to get ahead because our numbers, our power is in our numbers. And we
Right.
don't, the black woman realizes that. Some of us black men realize it, but most of the black men, they got them doing so many other things. They're distracted 1,000 different things. It's part of the plan. It's part of the plan. They want the woman elevated so that the black man can feel less about himself.
Mm.
And until we realize that what we need to do is not only support the black woman, but we're born leaders, we need to lead also. And if we don't know how to get out and lead, then it's part of the plan to marginalize the black man. It's really part of the plan to really put us in a position of worthlessness. And we got to realize that and understand that our unity is our power. And until that's our strength, until we can really unify and do the things that as a team to get things done. They want us divided. They put division in us. They put leaders in place to keep us divided. Look at Savannah City Hall. You know,
Mm.
leader in there to divide us. This is all a part of the plan. It's conditioning. And when you're conditioned to think something over the long period of time, then what happens? It becomes reality.
Because yeah, your norm.
Perception unchallenged becomes reality.
That's
You
true.
know,
You know, what you said is absolutely true. I think
You
a
know, they
lot of it.
have a paper,
Go for it. Go ahead, Teresa.
paper called the Willie Lynch Papers. And that written back in the 1700s, 1800s, that it was written of how to divide and conquer and make the black person, people always be up against one another. The mass incarceration situation, we have over 2 million people who are incarcerated, and then the majority of those are black men. Now they incarcerate the women. We don't see what to do amongst ourselves. They use it as a good way to incarcerate the men. They always, as you say, want to divide and conquer. They started the children, the black children, now right from school, like prison to school to prison pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
They're always trying to find a way to keep the black man down. But most people don't understand that. I was looking at today, and I was just watching how they wanted to fight. And then gunshots run out, and then I had to call the police and that. You know, so that thing of how they think that how they think that control now is with guns and violence.
Yeah.
So everything that happens to the black man now is a conditioning that if we educate them, we make them think that they're dumb, then it's where they feel, and then when they start feeling dumb, then they go outside school, and then that's where they are picked up and put in, indoctrinated again. That then they want to have a product or something that is going to keep them. You
Mm.
know, so they think that money is the answer,
and
and money is
that's
not the
part of the
answer.
conditioning. That's part
And
of the
Not
fast money at
not
that.
in that sense.
Yeah, that's part of
Money,
the that's that's part of the conditioning, Miss Teresa. They
yes.
put the guns. They make us think that money is the only thing that we need. They put the guns in our neighborhoods, and it's that the media is part of it because all the media does. If you see anything come on the media about the black neighborhood, about black communities, all it is something negative. It's always going to be something negative. Not only are they influencing our, our community, they're influencing other communities also to think that way about us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a plan. It's a long range plan. They just don't do something
Right.
for overnight. This is 50 years in the making.
Yeah, and if you really look at it, it stems back to slavery. You know,
Mm-hmm.
often we used to hear how the black man wasn't in the home and the mom was a single mom and raising the children. Well, if you think about it, that started back in slavery when the slave master would remove the male from the family. And so a lot of these things that we're talking about, it has a long history
Exactly.
that has us still kind of in this mode of operation. So like we talked about, it's the new normal.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It is a new normal, and until we can break that cycle, until we can start making more black men understand that what our role is to lead. And if you don't want to lead, then the next thing you should do is support. You got to support. If you're not going to lead, then support. You just can't sit in the house and do nothing. You just can't sit back and be a bystander in life. You got to be a part of the process. And that's part of the problem with our community. We don't have enough black men leading. Black women are leading us. I have no problem with that. But I also want the black man to understand that he a duty and obligation to his community also, and that is to lead, be a part of, engage, involvement.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, but I'm proud of they you know when you talking George Floyd versus Breonna Taylor and how they are doing, the only reason that George Floyd case is so prominent is because it was videotaped and the world saw it. On Breonna Taylor's, that was just as crazy how they did it, and uh, nobody was charged. And here you have a state attorney general who was a coward, and that's what he is. He's a coward. He's a
In
black
Kentucky.
guy that's in that position. He's just a coward. Like I said, everything isn't about race. It just happens to include race. And so when you look at it, you have to be able to touch these things. You have to be able to speak on them. That's the
Hmm.
only way that you're going to level the playing field. That's the only way that you're going to have diversity anywhere in this country is if we start to talk about these things. We have a platform where we can now uh, uh, get together to talk. We have platforms where we can see where we need to unite and become one. We weren't we this wasn't we weren't privy to these type of things before, and nobody was using it to that advantage.
Hmm.
But that's what we try to do here at All Things Relevant Media. We try to make sure that we tell the people, inform the people of what's going on in our communities so we can bridge that gap. It's a big gap in there. And the gap has gotten wider and wider instead of shrinking because there are certain things in the environment, and there are certain elements in play that keep us from coming closer. It's keeping us
Hmm.
here or it's making it wider. And we have to realize this thing. All we got to do is open our eyes and wake up, you know. But this ain't about Julius. This ain't about what I'm talking about. Yo, go ahead.
Well, no, I think you make a valid argument there. I would offer the question here: how do we get there? How do we begin to bridge the gap? How do we begin to have those conversations um, that are so important? For example, when I was growing up, I grew up in Savannah. There were a lot of male leadership figures: Benny Mitchell, Otis Johnson, etc. And now that has shifted. So how do we have this conversation to where we can have both and?
Mm, no, you have to join your county um, political organizations. You have to join. You have to join the NAACP so you can make them fight. See, because the NAACP, even though we have new leadership, which Chad Mance, a good friend of mine, um, and should be able to do some great things. Um, uh, and he also said whenever we want him to call, he called me yesterday and said whenever we want him on the show, Robert, just call him.
Okay.
So he's eager to talk to the people and advocate for whatever is right for our communities. And that was part of the problem. We didn't have any advocacy coming from organizations that have been around forever. You know, the church used to be our biggest
Right.
backbone. The church has failed us. Our black organizations have failed us. The only we have as any shining light, any light whatsoever, is the black woman. Think about it.
Mm,
The black woman.
that's powerful.
That's all we got. She is the cradle of our all civilization. And she's doing
Mm,
her duty now. She saw where there was a void. And now the black woman is stepping up. Why do you think we got so many black women as mayors all over this country? Even
right.
the lady in Elizabeth City where they had the latest shooting where the sheriff deputies killed Mr. Brown,
Mhm.
Mm.
black mayor, woman. You know, so the leadership is there. Black women are on the rise, Miss Teresa. Y'all are doing what y'all are supposed to do. Matter of fact, y'all are the black man that they need to lead. You are calling us and telling us, come on, come on.
Mhm.
What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all lagging back there? Come on up front up here. Y'all want us to
Right.
lead. The black women don't want to be out there trying to do that. They want us to lead. It's just our job as black
Mhm.
men to step up and accept the challenge into our rightful role.
And
Can
let's
I
add to
just?
that. Go ahead. Go ahead, Teresa. I'm sorry.
I want to add into that. Um, you know, when we were allowed to get educated and we were allowed to change where our address was, things like that. A lot of people left. Let me ask you, as two black men,
Hmm.
do you sponsor a young black man?
Do we
We
sponsor
can
what?
say it begins at home and it spreads abroad. I said it begins at home and then it spreads abroad. We have to go back and sponsor a child.
Mm.
Go back and be one of the ones that leave from the suburb. Miss Hall, it is beautiful up in there. Do you know to a young child that's maybe homeless going to school and vision to see that it is possible that I can live like this? Every child, every black boy is not play basketball.
Right.
There's some like children that might need to learn how to play that piano sitting over there.
You're
You
right.
know, so we have to start reaching back and picking up the ones that we have actually left behind.
That
Right.
is
And
absolutely
then
correct.
that way, as we grow, they grow. And they see different opportunities that's available to us. As what was it Harriet Tubman said? I could have freed more slaves if they were slaves. It
Mm.
was a lot of people she went back for to come on and come to the promised land. But they didn't want to go to the promised land. They thought they had it good where they was at.
Right.
You don't know
And
how
that's
much if you don't never. How can you tell me about downtown and you don't never get on? So these are the types of thinkings that we have to start doing ourselves. Where if we belong to a church, we have to let you know this is what we need in our community. You might need a bigger building, but we need to go ahead and go out there and be and bring other people in here that need to be here. Man, in prison, there's plenty of church programs that come in. Very few of them are black.
Mm.
They're mostly white people coming trying to bring the word, and so if you don't know how to use it, it's like when they came to me when I was in prison, I got everybody's name. And when I was released into Raleigh, I held them accountable to see if they could help me. My church made sure that they went back in there and found other people to come and show us what it's like to go to a church. So those are the kind of things we have to offer.
Your mic is breaking up real bad.
I really.
Your mic is breaking up real bad. And I know I hear it on this end, but viewers
You
are
talking
telling
about
us so.
Teresa?
And
Yes,
it
ma'am.
could be your proximity to it, so you might be too close.
Yeah, you might be too close.
Yeah.
Just sit back and talk.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do hear it breaking
Mm-hmm.
up. I don't know how it affected you on your end.
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And to get to
not
talk
sure.
on your point that you made earlier, I have a mentoring group of a group of young kids that are at risk. Robert also does the same thing with a group that he does. Well, your group out of Atlanta?
Athens. Mm-hmm.
Athens, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing what is required of us. We just need more black men to do the same thing. And we can't reach one and teach one unless we get up and stand up, and put that, extend that hand out. And you're absolutely right. We challenge more men to become examples of what we want these young men to be, because we can't leaders. Some leaders, you can make some leaders, but most leaders are born. You can tell by how they adapt, what where they want to be at in life, how they lead. Even if they're doing something wrong, you can tell the leader. Leader is a leader wherever he's at. So you're absolutely right. We do need more men to get up and help these kids. There's some organizations out there just helping kids that are already helped, don't need the help. We got to help those kids that are at risk and step up to the mic and do what we're supposed to do. And you're absolutely right, sister.
And
Absolutely.
you said a key thing just a moment ago, where
Yes.
some leaders are born, and some people aspire to be involved in the community, aspire to hold leadership positions, but they don't know how that looks. They don't know how to get from their home to that leadership role, if that makes sense. So if you all were having a conversation with someone who said, well, I'm at home every day, I want to be involved with my community. How does that look? Where do I start?
Yeah, yeah. And we have to be able to provide those answers for them. We these kids. Uh, you can't save every one of them, but you can save one or two of them. Believe me. And if you did that and brought them out, then they're going to see that somebody saved them, and they can save somebody later on. And that's what it's a chain reaction, and we just got to step up and do what we're supposed to do. We're not doing it. We're in a sunken position in this country as a people. A lot of people don't think so because they're comfortable and content with what they have. And if you don't, it's our responsibility, it's our obligation to our community to step up, and not only with the black males, but with the black females.
Right.
Um, they need to be groomed and taught and brought along also so that we can have productive leaders. People, and just like a kid, you see another kid do something, you want to do it. You lead by example. Those will see that somebody else is doing it, and they'll want to do it. And that's the same thing with grown-ups here. They have to see it, but see, they have all these things, distractions in our way, that we feel comfortable doing the things that we've always done for the last 30, 40 years that does not want us to focus on leading. Let them lead. That's what we all say in our community. Oh, they'll lead. They'll do it. Well, okay, if we're going to have the black woman to lead like that, then we need to support them. That's all I have to say.
Hmm. And as I was thinking about the conversation, let's add into the mix now. These are women, so they are giving birth, raising families, sometimes single moms, taking care of all these things, and still find time to get out there and give back.
Yeah, yeah. That's a bad woman. That's a
I
bad
think
woman.
was it Karen White that said it best? Superwoman.
Superwoman. Yeah, superwoman. That's a bad woman. And that's
Hmm.
what we need. That's what we need as men in this community. We have too many excuses. We're doing too many of the things that keeping us from doing what we're supposed to do in our communities. But that's another show where we're going to put on, I guess, so we can challenge um, the black man to stand up, so that we can even the playing field. You're not trying to take over anything. You're trying to just
Right,
level that playing field so that everybody can operate on the same level. You
right.
know,
That balance.
yeah, it's balance.
Yeah.
That's what life is about, balance.
And so, if I could, let's take a walk back in history when Condoleezza Rice became, was it Secretary of State under the
Yeah.
Bush administration?
Was she
And
Secretary of State or she is UN
senior
ambassador? She was,
advisor,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
And at that time, there really wasn't a traction, or no one really noticed that, hey, black women aren't really getting the attention or leadership roles they deserve. So we fast forward to Obama. I almost thought about, just Kamala, but if you go back to Obama, you see Valerie, you see Susan, you see a number of high profile African American women. And do we stop there, or do you see a bright future ahead of us?
Well, I see a very bright future for the black woman. I do. I see a very bright future for the black woman. I don't know about the black man unless we take charge and start doing things. But for the black woman, her Miss Teresa's thing is dead on. The rise of women on the rise of the black woman. They
Mhm.
are rising. Everywhere you look, there's a black woman hating something. Obama
Right.
tried with Eric Holder and the people that he put in place, but he also had a bunch of black women also. Look at Biden. He has one black man that's leading something, and that's Secretary of Defense. Um, so that's really in a prominent role, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
we have to step up to the plate and do what's necessary to to start leading. And that's one of the reasons here in the city of Savannah and in this area in Chatham County, um, where you stepped up and ran for public office. Daniel Blackman stepped up and ran for public office. You got Raphael Warnock.
Mhm.
You got people that are starting to understand that it takes a black man to lead a nation, our nation. And you have to step up into those roles of servitude. You can't be a politician because a politician serves himself. You have to be a servant. A servant serves the people. I'm running for mayor now in the city I'm in. And I see that there's a void. I know that my city that I'm in, right outside of Savannah, is ran like Mayberry RFD. It's a bunch of, I'm serious, it is. These people have no vision. They don't understand anything about government or politics. All they do is get there and they let the city manager run. They don't have no vision to build this city, and that's what we're going to do here when we take over City Hall in January, because it is a vision to make wherever you are better, and that's
Right.
what we have for Port Wentworth coming up is to make this city better. Every city around me is shining. Every city around me is doing what they're supposed to do. and we're in the middle of all that. Like I said, the issue, somebody say, well, all the tourists go to Savannah. Well, all the tourists can come to Fort Wentworth also. There's a lot of history here for them. Eli Whitney and the cotton gin and all kinds of stuff. There's all kind of markers all around here about the 40 acres and a mule was happened right across the street from me. So in the church right across the street from where I live at. So it's a lot of history here. The issue isn't uh, that the tourists won't come to this city. The issue is the tourists don't have a reason to come to this city. So
Mhm.
but anyway, but getting back, I'm off track a little bit. Black men, we need to step up and lead, and that's what it's all about. In our prospective positions, we need to understand what they are and to get into them. We need to challenge the church. The church is led by mostly black men. Some black women, about 30% of the church is black women now because they're on the rise. Women are on the rise. They're even taking over the churches. So there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, black men have to understand their position and what it is. And if you, like you said, if you ain't gonna lead, then help.
Mm. And it's nothing wrong with helping, but we just got to remember to this group of people that's going to prison. Our mandate for Women on the Rise is to reduce incarceration by 50% in the Atlanta area. But that's, as you say, it's going to take men to step up and lead. We have to have alternatives, for people to be able to know that they do have a different choice. There is a better choice. And we need men as saviors for our community. We need men to be saviors in our own community. So I don't know how we pull them together, but we have to have that conversation everywhere we go. If you can be a mayor in a town and do what you do, to even be able to have the conversation to do what you say you want to do, you have to be able to reach back. That was something that did come out of the civil rights movement. That was a message about reaching back, and we cannot forget to do that.
That's correct. That's
But
correct.
nobody's hopeless or worthless. They, like what you have already said, they just need a vision. They need to be able to see that vision. If that means that we have somebody in our community that has clout, like they want to pull a basketball player in to get people that like basketball to go in and take a COVID shot, then we have to figure out who do we need to call to go back and give us a life injection shot, you
Mm.
know, and bring us out of the ghetto. It's not all one way and all up and all down. We got to learn how to meet in the middle.
That's absolutely correct. The
Mhm.
churches that are led by black men and women congregations are predominantly women, uh, for the most part, predominantly Facebook, FB, or the most part. I don't understand that. Anyway, um, we have Condoleezza Rice was Secretary of State, Brother Jamal Torre said. Tanya Howard
Mhm.
said we are natural neuterers and have have the will to persevere. That's absolutely correct. Natalie said black women's future is only brightest when black men step up. That's correct. We must not fight each other or perpetuate the division. That is absolutely correct. We cannot fight each other, but we must fight those people who are a detriment to our community, be they black or white. If they are a detriment to our community, one thing you will always see is me fighting them. I'll fight them for you. I'll stand in the gap. It don't make no difference. You can say anything you want to say about me, but when God calls me home, then I'm hoping that He say, "Well done, my true and faithful servant," because I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. as far as my uplifting my community in any way that I can. If you're a detriment to any place that I am, or any place that I have a platform to say something about it, I will not hold my breath. I have to say it. Be it black, white, woman, man, it don't make no difference. If you are a detriment, you need to be removed. Because if you're not doing anything to move the community where you came from forward, then you are a problem.
They've been castrating black men since they've come to this country. And as I said earlier, that charity begins at home and then spreads abroad. That thinking of castration they still do it now in the workplace. They won't let you move up. But we have to learn in the household. If we're going to have a man in that household, we have to encourage him also to be able to do his job. If he can't find work, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have something to offer to the home. The woman go out and work, let the man stay there and do what he needs to do to make sure it runs smoothly, but not to come back and castrate him like, oh, you're henpecked. You're not henpecked. You are a man you're offering what you can to make our household run. So that's another way of thinking when we start thinking about the men in our lives and how do we uplift them to make them want to be more and do more.
You're
Just a little
absolutely
more.
correct. You're
That's right.
absolutely correct. Um, Tanya Howard Hall says the churches are led by black men and women. Congregations are predominantly women for the most part, and that's true because the black man don't think that he has time to go to church. He don't think that he has
Hmm.
time to be religious. And when you go in church, it is a whole lot of women in the church, and that's why women had to step out and create their own churches. You think about it. You know, it's all the churches, nothing but women.
That's
All the
right.
women are in the churches, and they're getting that leadership. They're getting that spiritual guide, a guidance from God to know that they got to step out and step up. Black men, we're still asleep, and we need to wake up. And it's a challenge to black men. It's a challenge to black leaders. It's to black organizations. It's a challenge um, elected officials
Right.
that we need to just step up. We support you, sister, and everything that you're doing,
Yes.
and any way that we can help and uh, help from this platform. Just reach out to us, and we'll be there to help you do whatever needs to be done.
We appreciate you for that too.
Yes, ma'am,
Mhm.
brother Robert.
Well, I think we have come to the end of the hour. We'll want to definitely thank Teresa for sharing her time and wisdom today, and we'll let you kind of close out with your closing thoughts.
Well, I just want to say that our community needs a lot of support. We need to just remember to go back, make sure that we're able to vote
Right.
so that we can help to change laws that are being made go against us, that go against our men. We need to be able to um, look at one another with really true love, not just for what you can do for me, but what can I do for you? And just remember to support the group of people that we come from in our area. Uh, I'd like to say that our website is Women on the Rise, GA.org, O-R-G, Women on the Rise, GA.org.
Hmm.
And
Women on the Rise, Georgia.org, GA for Georgia. Women
yes,
on the Rise, GA.org. Y'all can get in touch with Mr. Reese's, find out all the, that's a website where they can go on also. Um,
yes. And we're also on Facebook. Um, and we are available to come out and help rally up the vote. We
Okay.
are, and that's our main cause right now. But we want to make sure that people know about incarceration and how it has affected our community. We want to bring that to your attention. Okay, and
Okay.
close the Atlanta City Detention Center.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Awesome. Awesome. Robert, you got any parting words before we close
Well,
out?
no, I think we had a really, really good discussion, and I didn't anticipate it going the direction where we started to analyze African American men, but I think it is a part of that discussion. But thank you, Teresa. I think what you offered was really insightful and really added to the conversation when you're talking about women who have been so powerful for so long.
Thank you.
Well, we'll get to the men part where we challenge the men to step up because um, like I said, we had a lot of men run, but we got to start supporting the men.
Right.
Like we did support the women because the women have forceful voices. We need men that are going to stand up, speak out, and say what they feel, and people will get on that bandwagon once they do that. So that'll be another show that Robert and I will break that down and invite some powerful men. Dr. Jamar Torrey, Anthony Maven, y'all get ready. Reverend Smalls, y'all get ready. We're going to have Anthony Marchera, y'all get ready. We're going to have a real discussion probably next week or the week after, and we're going to get that show together so we can talk and challenge the men. We want to try to get some pastors on too, so the pastors, what is your obligation? What is going on? We need you to start leading and stop just collecting
Right.
the check. Stop just passing the plate. We don't need you to just pass the plate. We need you to lead. The dog is attacking somebody. Um, anyway, that's our show for today. So Teresa, we'll get back in touch with you when it's time to put you back on the show. We appreciate you coming in, and
Thank you.
I'll contact you because I have another show I want you to come on.
Well, thank you very much.
It's
Everybody
a
have a
Friday
blessed
afternoon
day.
show. It's a Friday show, Incarceration to Incorporation. I'm going to have you on that show. Okay?
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Robert,
Thank you
I'll
so
talk to
much.
you in a minute. Y'all can stay in the back room while I close the show out. Don't go nowhere.
Okay.